she got a thing for the super villain. Someone that love you for you with a bomb feeling. Remind me you got what you want, you can stop wishing. Answer to all of your prayers, this was God vision. She was choosing, I can see it all in your...
Post-fight analysis sa recently held na URCC event. I guess URCC 79, tama ba ako? And we have a special guest. Siya yung commentator, fight analyst during that specific event. Ang maganda dito, isang YouTuber versus a pro fighter, URCC belt holder, champion. So if this interests you, please stay tuned because you will be in for a treat.
Now, for those in attendance watching around the world, this is the moment you've all been waiting for. It's time!
Yes, it's time to introduce JC Reyes. JC, kamusta mo?
Yes, mabuti naman po. Medyo meron pang stuck pa rin sa akin yung moment nung Tuesday kasi sobrang last minute nung opportunity na binigay sa akin to be one of the commentators dun sa event. As in, like Monday night na halos ata sinabi sa akin na, sige, Tuesday ikaw magko-commentator. So, hindi ko alam kung gaano ako magiging prepared for that event.
Was this your I guess first time or debut na commentator sa professional fight?
First time ko siya for MMA. Pero a couple of months ago, ang una ko talagang commentating na ginawa na ganyan, na gig is boxing. So for Ilorde promotion.
Yes. Yeah, I remember that. Congratulations, by the way. Now this one, MMA, URCC. Question ko sa'yo, how was it?
It was, first of all, it was a very exciting night kasi after so long, may ganun kalaking crowd na ulit for local MMA sa atin sa Pilipinas. So, after like almost 3 years yata kasi they did that in Olongapo 2 or 3 months ago. Pero syempre, pag sa provinces, okay naman ang hype doon ng mga events. Maraming suporta. Pero yung pagbalik dito kasi sa Metro Manila, sobrang big deal kasi dito nagsimula yung mga events ng katulad ng URCC. So, when they did that event, actually napaisip nga po ako nun kasi sabi ko yung venue niya is a bar, tapos yung location niya pa is gimmickan. So, it's a hot spot for yung puntahan ng mga tao talaga paggabi. And it's not a cheap place to go to pag when you're gonna go out to drink or something. Pero ang interesting enough dito, puno yung venue.
No, that really means yung mga tao parang they are thirsty, hungry sa mga MMA events. It's been 3 years ba naman? So, eto, papakita ko yung mga, siguro yung some slides, and then can you talk more about this matchup, and then after that, what happened? Mante, tsaka si Faurilio.
Itong Rufino Mante versus Arlan Faurilio. Ito po sa isa sa mga pinaka-interesting na matchup. Kasi si Mante, he was a former pro boxer. At kung sa iba-ibang styles na rin, umikot na siya, kumbaga sa Asia, para mag-compete. So, he's been to Thailand, to Japan, to Indonesia yata, Vietnam, to either compete in boxing, in Muay Thai, in kickboxing, and then pati MMA sa Thailand. Nag-MMA na rin siya abroad. So, that considered, ito namang si Arlan Faurilio, medyo ano na rin siya, may something na rin siya sa local scene. And he has his own gym naman sa bandang Bicol region. Interesting yung kwento ni Arlan Faurilio kasi he started training on his own sa striking.
Really?
As in, he was reading books, yung parang old school na
Old
way.
school,
Then eventually, nakahanap siya ng pwedeng training partners for that. And ngayon, professional fighter na siya. And he's also a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu blue belt. Yun lang ang pinaka-formal training niya for striking. Hindi. So, I was expecting this fight to sinisip ko kung magiging in favor ba to kay Mante nun. Kasi he's the more experienced, lalo na sa medyo mas mataas na level since may international experience. Pero si Faurillo proved that, not just because may international experience ka, hindi ka na makakatapat ng kalaban na kakayanin ka even at the domestic level ng combat sports.
You know what? Again, ibabalik ko dito. Yung mga, meron tayong konting viewers, biglang nawala. But the thing is, this episode, again, we'll go back to this pro fighter or MMA champion versus a YouTuber. And we could talk more about yung YouTuber mamaya because it is very unusual for just a YouTuber to go step up and fight inside the ring. Inisip ko baka meron tong alam, and I'm reminding all the viewers, we will talk about that later on. We're just doing a recap sa mga events, So with regards to going back to Faurillo na sinabi mo, he's interesting. And what happened to that fight?
That fight was that fight proved na yung experience ni Faurillo, even though he started na talagang zero and self-training lang, na malayo-layo na yung naabot niya when it comes to martial arts. Kasi even ang preparation niya for the fight, he was sparring with his students. Kasi wala siyang ibang coaches na kasama to spar with for most of the time.
Wow.
Right? In this day and age, ideally, dapat meron ka na mga kasamang coaches when you train sa gym mo. Pero for this one, mostly mga ka-training niya, according to him, were his students. And nung kinuwento niya yun sa amin, nung nakausap namin siya before the fight, I couldn't help but wonder kung paano kaya niya lalabanan yung veterano internationally na si Mante. Then, yun na nga lumabas na although si Mante has very good striking, maganda yung bato niya ng mga strikes, yung mga suntok, mga sipa. Si Faurillo naman, he noticed something sa laro sa galaw ni Mante. Whenever he tries to take him down, halos saglit lang, dala agad sa ground. So that's what he maximized. That's what he doubled down on. Try to get take down, try to get to a dominant position. Yun nga nangyari. He was very dominant dun sa fight for the most part kasi he found his strength dun na yun lamang niya dun sa kalaban niya during that fight nung mga I think it was like second round yata niya na-realize
nag-iisip na fighter.
Nag-iisip na po siyang
He's
fighter.
really studying his opponent. Yun ang kagandahan. Kasi despite of, in a way, handicap niya in terms of experience, he was using his brains on how to defeat this his opponent. Now, with this one, 125, tama ba? Dimagia or Dimagila? Versus...
Dimagila, yes. With this fight naman po kasi, ang interesting dito sa fight na to, si Ahmed Caid, he is based in Baguio City sa north, dito, north ng Luzon. He came to the Philippines to study. Tapos, eventually he found a gym which is Fight for MMA sa Baguio na producer din ng medyo mga very good fighters dun sa north. That they have a good wrestling and Muay Thai base if I remember right. And then itong si Ahmed Caid na to is here medyo bago lang talaga siya sa local MMA scene. Tapos ito yung first I remember parang first professional fight nito. Dito lang din siya sa Pilipinas natuto nitong MMA.
Ang galing
And itong si De Maguila, halos bago lang din siya actually. Parang he hasn't been training for anything less than 4 years. Anything more than 4 years. Tapos pang-apat niya pa lang yata ito na laban. Before that, mostly parang ano siya yung training niya was more nung una self-training, then a coach based in Marikina, si Coach Jess De La Peña, saw him at one of the local promotions na amateur. Sabi niya baka pwede kong i-guide to. Then nga kinuha siya ni Coach Jess and nagsimula sila mag-training. Technically yung maayos talaga, yung formal talaga na training under Coach Jess, nagsimula lang noong 2020. Ganon siya ka-raw pagdating sa maayos na training.
Galing So what happened? Sinong nanalo?
Ang nanalo dito, kaya lang, ang nanalo po dito is si Ahmed Kaid. He won via a rear naked choke, if I remember right. Kasi, well, sobrang si De Maguila kasi, hindi siya masyado well-versed pagdating sa ground game kasi nga, sobrang bago niya pa. Itong si Kaid, his team in Baguio is, they're known to have, very good grapplers din. As a matter of fact, before, meron na silang mga representatives who fought for other international promotions. Kaya medyo step up ang training nung isa. Yung foreigner na fighter.
Tama pala.
The fight ended in round 1.
Ang bilis, round 1.
Towards the end.
Wow. Tama pala, before we're gonna proceed. Di ba, which one do you do? I know you do Muay Thai. You also do BJJ. Am I correct? You do both?
I do Muay Thai and boxing and yung striking protocol system under kay Coach Gabay, which is basically a system that you can use to para mas madali siyang if you want to coach, mas madali siyang process or mas madali siyang actual system to teach and actually to train then. And then yung BJJ, I have done a few sessions and initially isa yun talaga sa mga pinaka sinimulan kong from like 15 years ago na YouTube Jiu-Jitsu yung ginagawa ko noon.
Alam mo, marami namang mga fighters na they started with YouTube Jiu-Jitsu, especially when nahihirapan sila maghanap ng gyms or they call it academy. Panay YouTube muna and then they learn from it. Even Rich Franklin, he started with instructional videos and then they come out, great fighters. Moving into this event or match-up, itong dalawa si So, tsaka si Alentozon. How was it?
Joe Vincenzo versus Kimbert Alentozon. This fight is actually a champion versus champion matchup po siya kasi si Joe Vincenzo is the Domination Fight League flyweight champion while si Kimbert Alentozon is the Real Street Fighting Grand Prix 2 flyweight champion. So medyo si Joe ang medyo mas veterano sa kanilang dalawa kasi si Joe Vincenzo, if we check his background, he's been to competitions like yung Fight Farm from a few years ago.
Fight Farm.
Alum
ang gagaan nila, no? Ano bang height nila?
Parang mga
5'2", 5'3",
6'5", 7. Matatangkad din po sila. Pero ang gagaan nila. And yung laban na to actually for me was madami personally, I think that fight was the fight of the night para sa akin. Sobrang tindi nung palitan nitong dalawang fighters na to. And so yung round 1 of that fight, medyo nagkaroon ng konting issue kasi nagka illegal blows pa, low blow, na accidental low blow na medyo nag-delay ng konti dun sa laban. Twice in round 1. Pero kaya na bawasan ng point si Kimber Talentoso doon sa round 1. Although round 1 was, nung medyo nakaka-recover na si So, he was able to, I think, get a slight edge din sa round na yon against Talentoso. So round 2, doon na nagsisimula na medyo mas matindi na yung bigayan nila lalo. Nagkakaroon na ng medyo naging bloody na kumbaga yung laban. And then round 3 nila was it was even bloodier kasi gumugulo yung ilong nito, tapos may iba pang damages na sa mukha. Pero for the most part kasi pag napupunta sa ground yung laban nila, mas madalas nasa dominant position si nasa advantageous position si Joe. Kaya I think yun yung reason kung bakit binigay ng judges sa kanya yung win via split decision. Pero for me, it was a very close fight and I would believe na they deserve a rematch para lang magkaalaman. Kasi after the fight, may kanya-kanya silang both sides nagsasabi na rematch na lang kaya tayo kasi di ka naman talaga nanalo. Siyempre may trash talking na kagad.
This is a typical fight na both claim they are winners.
Yes.
Parang ganon. And
yes,
they went the whole 3 rounds. Sometimes yun yung nasa likod ng mga even ng mga coaches, panalo kami. Like you said, I think the best solution is a rematch. O kung nanonood si Prof Alvin, this would be a good rematch. Saka si Ron was previously naging guest natin. I think you were there, you were watching.
The day before the event.
Oo. And then it was really interesting yung pinag-usapan namin na pre-fight regarding yung sa main event. Now, looking at this, let's go fast forward before we go to the main event. Ito si Oliva, si Maninga. How is this?
This fight this one ended in round 1 via KO. What happened here was nung simula, hindi sila magkadikitan. Kasi si Oliva kasi, he's smaller than Maningat. Pero, since he knows how to use his... Actually, yung height niya, hindi naging disadvantage kasi kaya niyang maiwasan yung mga suntok ni Maningat, yung range ni Maningat.
Right.
Mga base Maningat, pero hindi niya, may mga moments na hindi niya masyado maabot si Oliva. And, Oliva managed to rock Maningat a couple of times at least dun sa laban. And there were some takedown attempts dun sa laban nila. Pag nasa gitna sila banda ng cage, ang galing nung takedown defense ni Oliva dun Only when Maningat actually charged Oliva and napunta sila sa gilid ng cage, dun na nagka-problema si Lennon Oliva. And yun na he was in a position na medyo mahirap nang umalis kasi naka-full mount na nung Maningat, and then na-maximize niya na yung kanyang lalong advantage yun kasi mas mahaba siya, so yung force ng pagsuntok niya pababa syempre dire-diretso na. Hindi na talaga makaalis si Oliva noon, and the fight ended via KO ng round 1 din. Towards the end of round 1 din to.
Was it a ground and pound?
Yes, it was a ground and pound. Tigil na ni referee kasi si Oliva could not defend the punches anymore.
Ang referee si Coach Franco ba?
Ang referee sa laban nila, if I remember right, was referee Joey Lipitan po yata.
Joey. And on this picture, mukhang pumasok si Rolando D.
Yes. In this picture kasi, maraming hindi nakakaalam si Rolando D is also a coach na rin ngayon. He has his own gym based in Cavite. Nung pre-pandemic, nung pandemic actually, nung start ng whole lockdowns dito, yung time na yon bago nag-lockdown, he opened this gym. Paano gagawin niya ngayon? Lugi kagad, di pa nagbubukas. So, he thought na, he tried to get some fights in sa Brave Combat Federation where he used some fights.
Right.
And then, may konting success and yung fame niya online for being a very good, one of the top guys natin, masasabi sa featherweight and lightweight division. Siyempre, natural lang na may mga tao, may mga estudyante na who would want to train under him.
Okay.
And then yun na nga nangyari. Si Kenneth Maningat started training with Rolando D, I think in 2021 or 2020 or 2021. Late 2020 nga yata. Kasabayin niya noon yung isa pang flyweight din under Rolando D's team na si Ruel Panyales. And
Maningat is i-train under Rolando D, kaya nandiyan pala to si Rolando.
yes. Siya ang
Nice.
coach ni si Rolando D ang coach ni Kenneth Maningat. Although si Kenneth Maningat kasi he's been prior to training with Rolando D, he's been training elsewhere. Nawalan lang siya siguro ng oras noon before. Pero he's actually a jiu-jitsu blue belt when he came in kay Rolando D. Kaya medyo okay ang ground game ni Maningat.
Oh. Now, regarding this fight,
This
makatangay
fight-
and itaas. Tama ba itaas? Parang
Yes,
minamurder ko yung mga pangalan nila. Pasensya na.
No, tama naman po yung pagkaka-approach. Dito sa laban po kasi na to, I know both these guys. Si Mark Itaas, medyo napanood ko yung mga umpisa ng laban niya. He's actually a champion sa isang college, isang university MMA league before called Forza MMA. I think parang student battle yung dating nung event na yun. So he became champion dun sa first event sa inaugural flyweight title nila ata. And then he was able to defend it the following year before nawala yung Forza na hindi ko alam kung kailan babalik. Pero ngayon nga, he's in the pros na. He's more of a striker kasi itong matchup na to, they're both, si Adrian Makatangay is more into, ang impression sa kanilang dalawa ng tao, this is gonna be a strike fist. Kaya lang, si Itaas kasi, isa sa weaknesses niya before when he was starting out was the ground game. Hindi ganun kapalis yung ground game niya. He was basically just training with his teammates noon. Sa kung ano lang nakikita nila on YouTube or somewhere else. Ngayon, may affiliation na sila ng Jiu-Jitsu. So, he doubled down on the training sa Jiu-Jitsu niya. In fact, before, a few weeks before nitong URCC, he joined a national open where he won gold sa division niya in Jiu-Jitsu. And interesting enough dito sa dalawang to, although maraming nag-expect that it was gonna be a stand-up fight, napunta sila sa ground. And then, as it turned out, si Makatangay has a lot of surprises up his sleeve kasi he managed to control the fight sa ground for most of the fight. Si Itaas, he tried his best naman to defend yung ground control ni Makatangay, kaya lang talagang kasi si Adrian Makatangay, he trains with Hitman MMA and with Brawler Slap. Yung teams na yon have solid wrestling. So not just jiu-jitsu, they have wrestling too. So malaking bagay kasi yung, alam naman natin, malaking bagay yung when you train both in wrestling and jiu-jitsu, pagdating sa ground game, hindi pwedeng jiu-jitsu lang kasi, may mga strengths ang wrestling, that would be very advantageous for
The
for even for actual jiu-jitsu. Pag jiu-jitsu competitions, pag nagre-wrestling ka or may wrestling background ka, medyo mas lamang ka na ng konti sa kalaban mong pure jiu-jitsu lang ang galaw.
now let's move forward. So sinong nanalo dito sa dalawa?
At ang nanalo dito sa kanilang dalawa, si Adrian Makatangay, kasi for the most part, he was able to keep the fight on the ground. This ended via Makatangay won via unanimous decision, and this for me was second place sa fight of the night kung meron mang ganon dito sa event na to. Ganon ganda yung laban nila.
Now, let's go to the main issue, main topic natin. Ibalik ko yung yung video nitong dalawa.
I think she got a thing for the super villain. Someone that love you for you with a bomb feeling. Finally you got what you want, you can stop wishing. Answer to all of your prayers, this was God vision. She was choosing, I can see it all in your.
Let's put in the proper perspective. Balik tayo sa mga history nila and then we'll go on to the proper fight. History, napag-usapan namin ni Ron, paano nangyari to? So, what's your take on this, on the weigh-ins and yung history? How did it really manifest dun sa cage before sila pumunta doon? Go ahead.
Interesting enough po kasi dito sa matchup na to. It started with sa social media kasi maraming actually bali-baliktad. May mga tao na hindi nakakalaman si Sugar Ray Mammoth is an actual fighter at in the champion. Akala nila YouTuber lang siya kasi malakas sa YouTube itong si Sugar Ray. Komedyante kasi.
Oo. Meron silang YouTube channel, di ba? Si Sugar Ray and who's that? Yung coach?
Si Coach Badong.
Oo, si Coach Badong.
Badong and the Mammoth yata yung pangalan ng channel ng YouTube.
So, akala nila, dun sa Badong and the Mammoth, he's just a YouTuber.
Yes. Akala nila he's just a YouTuber na malaki, na nakakatawa.
Oh.
And yung ibang content niya naman, although nasa gym, he shows training videos from time to time. Syempre, since he is technically one of the YouTubers, madaldal din si Mammoth sa social media. Itong si Bullet naman, he calls himself Boss Bullet, ang bumangga, giba. Nakakita siya, I guess, ng opportunity to merong hindi silang magandang naging conversation na umabot sa point na nagkahamunan. Si Bullet kasi, he is based in Kuwait. So he's an actual OFW.
OFW, yes.
Na umuwi sa Pilipinas for this.
But
and he's gonna go back to Kuwait.
my question is, does Bullet know na si Mammoth is a pro fighter?
Yes. I believe he knows na Mammoth
before
is a pro fighter. Yes. Ang dating din kasi kay Bullet is he is a coach doon sa Kuwait. He's a strength and conditioning coach. He also teaches boxing and Muay Thai daw, according to him, for fitness. So I guess na-assume niya na because he can teach, he knows how to punch ng konti, pwede na sa laban. Although, ang isa sa legit experience niya is he trains in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He's a two-stripe white belt. Ang kwento niya, hindi pa siya makapag full-time na training sa Jiu-Jitsu kasi he manages parang 4 or 5 gyms in Kuwait. Boss siya ng mga foreigners doon. Ganun sa katindi. And he's also a power lifter doon. Kaya Boss Bullet siya. Yung pala yung history ng pangalan niya. And I guess, yung iniisip niyang experience niya for training in Jiu-Jitsu and some martial arts for fitness, akala niya, dahil malaki yung katawan niya, I guess he assumed na kakayanin niya ang isang Mammoth Estroso.
But it's good that despite of in a way walang experience sa cage. He
Yes.
went to the Philippines. He paid his own trip. Yun ang sabi ni Ron sa akin. And then, he did the walk. He
Yes.
talagang pumunta siya and then
Mm.
pinanindigan niya. And this is the common question. Hindi naman question, but it's a common thing na I think misconception na once you know martial arts, you think you can fight inside a cage.
Yes.
It,
Yes.
it's way different when you are inside.
Very, very different. Yun ang misconception talaga ng maraming tao. Even when you go to a gym to train in MMA, say merong pro fighter who supposedly teaches MMA in that gym, you train for a few months, akala mo pwede ka nang lumaban.
Right.
Hindi kasi basta-basta yung mga ganun eh. You can't just assume na porket maganda na yung suntok mo on the pads or on the punching bag or kahit sa sparring, feeling mo parang okay na. Hindi
Right.
hindi pa rin sa gauge agad-agad to decide na hey, okay naman ako sa pad work, sa bag work, sa sparring namin sa gym na mga kasama ko, pwede na siguro ako maging fighter. And magkaiba din kasi yung level ng training ng fighters versus recreational practitioners ng martial arts. Isa sa mga hindi napapansin ng mga tao. Ang maraming recreational martial artists. I started like that before ako nag-podcast, before ako nag-commentator. I studied martial arts for fitness and para gusto ko matuto ng self-defense pero I didn't assume na just because naturuan ako good to go na ako. Siyempre iwas tayo sa gulo.
Yeah. I had the same thing when I started. It was in Chicago. I started with boxing, but Pilipinas. Pagdating ko sa Chicago, doon ako nag-Muay Thai. And the thing is, it's way different when it's sparring. You think you know everything, you have good strikes. Ito, tama, pumasok. And then we went to smokers. Doon nga lumabas yung smoker fight na ginawa kong promotion. Anyway, when we went to different smokers, we travel, Indiana, doon na mukhang everything changes once you get hit with a real punch, with a punch with an intention to knock you down. Then iba na yung tingin mo sa ring, and then you have crowd. Additional factor is the crowd itself. It's either when they say hurrah or they boo. Yun ang minsan those are several factors. Now this thing we're gonna watch. I don't know. Will it be short? Will it be long? I think nakita na ng mga tao. But last analysis na namin ni Ron, sabi ni Ron, sino to? Si Boss Bullet, he will take it until 3 rounds because he's a conditioning coach. He will try to do that. And then si Mammoth, since he knows yun ang strategy ni who's this? Si Boss Bullet, it's either he'll also lay low until the 3rd round or he might finish it on the 1st round. And on the striking skills, both mas advantageous talaga to si Mammoth despite of his physique.
He came in at about
Mammoth, diba?
235 pounds po yata.
235 pounds. Oh,
235.
The weight difference is huge. Tama ba?
Yes. They tagged it as a super fight. So okay lang na magkaiba yung weight difference nila. Si Bullet came in at around like 178. So sobrang laki talaga ng weight difference nila.
Oh, really? But look at this, bro. Talagang walang fat to si Boss Bullet. Puro muscle.
Mukha nga siyang, if you see him in person, parang alam nung he works out, he does his job, he does the work. Kumbaga, nag-work out siya, sobrang niyang fit at he's actually already 43 years old sa itsura niyan.
43? Oh my goodness. And he still fights.
This was his first first ever experience in MMA, tapos Mammoth pa ang kalaban niya agad.
Well, I have before the fight, taas na ako, high respects that he
Yes.
went in the ring against a professional fighter. So let's go and watch the fight. And then habang nanonood tayo, you could start commentating as well.
Di ba?
Balik muna ako dito. Oh, sorry. Sa sim.
Interesting enough dito kasi sa matchup na to. When Bullet came inside the cage, wala kang makikita sa mukha niya na he was worried about anything. Nandun yung confidence niya, considering ganyan kalaki si Mammoth. Hindi knows Mammoth's skills. For this fight, sumusubok sumipa si Bullet. Si Mammoth, he was just eating those kicks. Tapos, kasi may mga hindi nakakalam na si Sugar Ray Mammoth Estroso started as a professional, started in boxing. He used to fight in 147. Sa laki niya yan. May nakausap ako mga, ayan, dito, sa sequence na to, Bullet was trying to
take him down.
Possibly get a takedown. Yan, laki talaga masyado ni Sugar Ray. Hindi niya nakuha yung tamang position to earn the takedown. Tapos dito, alam ni Sugar Ray na
full guard si Bullet. Lumabas yung kanyang jiu-jitsu.
Full guard dyan, sabi ni Mama, tumayo ka dyan. Let's do this standing up. Dito na yung sequence na wala lang yung mga sipa ni Bullet. Although magaganda yung pagka-execute niya, hindi talaga tumatama kay Mammoth. And isa nakakabilib sa kanya is he's not afraid. He that's another attempt to take down. Hindi siya natakot considering alam niyang I'm sure umpisa pa lang alam niyang malamang sa malamang alanganin sa dito. Hindi pa nga so sobrang gigil ni Mammoth na nagkagulungan pa sila ni referee ni Professor Joey Lepitan sa crowd. And pumasok pa nga si Professor Alvin Aguilar sa loob ng cage to try to napakalmahin si Mammoth. Kasi sobrang full pa ng emotions since natapos ka agad.
ang bilis ng laban. Ang bilis.
At I think parang nasa mga 1 minute lang, a little over 1 minute yata ang laban. After ilang months nilang nag-hype nitong laban na to, it ended that quick.
Well, I guess it was a really good plan for Mammoth. As soon as possible, he should end it up. Pero I don't think he'd be worried sa gas tank niya kasi kahit malaki siya, he has the experience and the training. He knows how to pace himself.
Saka for his size kasi mabilis si Mammoth kung titingnan natin.
Yeah. Considering the size, mabilis. Ito nga yung anong tawag nito? Sila ni Lepitan when Joey tried to break them, parang mas mabilis pa siya sa referee.
Maraming nagulat nung nangyari yung pag-break sa kanila ni Prof. Joey Lepitan. Kasi nga nagkagulungan sila dun sa sequence na yun
Go ahead.
Ang interesting mo dito sa part na to, so Bullet went down already. Pinipigil na ni Ref Joey si Mammoth. So kaya nagkaroon sila ng konting scuffle doon. Si Bullet parang hindi siya naniniwala na wala na, tapos na yung laban. Ay, akala niya pwede pa siyang tumuloy. Ganun siya ka-shaken. I guess ganun siya ka-shaken for that fight. Hindi niya rin siguro inakala na matatapos ng ganun kabilis. Kasi si Bullet, he did prepare for this fight naman. In fact, he trained with the likes of Mark Striegel, Jerry Legaspi in this team for this fight.
Pero as you can see, yung mga tama ni Mammoth talagang pasok na pasok
Very very accurate yung mga punches niya, parang Wala
ilang
talaga
hooks
nagagawa si
sa mukha, nakita mong
mhm,
si Bullet, his
mhm.
legs already failed and he wobbled and then he just dropped down.
After the fight niya, kung nakita ko sa venue, he had a gash sa noo niya na nagsisimula ng lumapad kasi isa sa mga galing sa suntok ni Mammoth.
Mm.
Which means na kasi coming into this fight, a lot of people were saying that this is gonna be a scripted fight kasi ang daming clowning antics prior sa weigh-ins,
Mhm.
sa promo, yung mga nagbabatuhan ng tao habang nag-face off sila, yung mga ganon. So akala nila this fight was gonna be scripted. Pero kung nandoon ka mismo sa venue, maririnig mo yung lutong ng mga suntok nila. How can you fake that?
Yeah,
How can you fake
I
this?
don't think this is a scripted way.
Mhm.
Really, kahit na sa dito lang ako nanonood sa video, no way that
Mhm.
this could be scripted. Ang alam ko scripted yung ah, yung shadow spinning back fist, yun ang alam ko na scripted siguro.
Yung nag-viral na yun sa amateur event yun eh. Sa UFC, opening ng isang branch ng UFC Gym Philippines yun.
Oo.
So they had an amateur MMA event na nagkaroon ng sobrang fake nung nagalit pa ang nag-referee na si Coach Jerry Legaspi.
When I reviewed the fight, JC, nakita ko yung cue. The cue was for him to make his step. Yung lead foot niya. Pag step ng kanyang lead foot, that was a preparation for the opponent to duck and be prepared for the shadow spinning back fist. Nakakatuwa.
Kaya yun din po yung isa sa mga reasons kung bakit yung mga ibang tao, they assume na baka nga yung ibang laban ng MMA is fake. Katulad nitong kay Bullet and kay Mammoth. Although, yun nga, props pa rin po kay Bullet kasi he came all the way to the home to the Philippines to continue his training, to get in the cage and actually fight si Mammoth Estroso.
We have somebody here, sabi ni Tim Montales, body torpedoes for the win. Hindi lang body torpedo yun eh. Up and down, puro face nga eh. Yung mga hooks na yun. And para kung nanonood ng Tekken na sunod-sunod yung shots ni Mammoth. His hands are really fast and heavy. Now, final thoughts on this fight, and then before we go, we have 5 minutes. I'm gonna show some mga upcoming events on the national and domestic. So what are your final thoughts on this fight?
So about this fight, dito natin nakita yung klase, yung difference, yung levels ng kumbaga ng fan base ng MMA in the Philippines or fan base ng combat sports in general. Kasi there were people, nakikita ko yung mga posts about this, yung mga hype nila. There were some people who were assuming that because Bullet is huge, na malaki katawan niya, he had a huge advantage over Sugar Reyes Troso. Which is, kung ikaw naman, you understand the dynamics of the fight game, and kilala mo si Sugar Reyes Troso, kahit malaki ang katawan ni Bullet, you'd know na, kaya yung tapusin ng mabilis ng laban na to. And yun nga ang nangyari. That's exactly what happened for that fight. Now, this was not the first time na nakapanood tayo. Actually, this is the first time na nakapanood tayo ng YouTuber who stepped up in the cage to fight a real fighter in MMA. Kasi before, we've been seeing yung mga shows like from 6 years ago, yung laban in that same venue, doon nangyari yung Kiko Matos versus Baron Geisler.
Right.
And yun, that was a celebrity versus celebrity thing na it turned out to be for a social experiment / documentary. And then, nangyari na nga yung mga recently, yung mga YouTuber fights natin, yung Battle of the YouTubers, ganito ganyan. And then, ito yung first time na where a YouTuber actually stepped up and faced a real fighter. Kung saan, alam niya sa sarili niya that he could be in a huge disadvantage. And this should be a lesson to YouTubers na lalo na locally and internationally, that you don't just step up in a cage or in a ring just because you assume na, yun nga, sa training, akala mo, mabilis ka na, maganda na yung galaw mo. Pero iba yung you go through the actual process of training from the ground. Kung gusto mo talaga maging fighter, join amateur events, start from the bottom. Siguraduhin mo na your training is for real combat. Hindi magiging madali yan, pero everybody has to go through that process. Which is something na ginawa naman ni Bullet, kaya lang his time was too limited to come up with, you know, an actual upset against Sugar Reyes Troso. And interesting enough nga, he was even saying nung event na it was not gonna be the last time that people are gonna see him
inside the cage.
I guess part of the process is nagustuhan niya rin talaga yung actual training. Kasi he went through the training of an actual fighter. He trained with Mark Striegel in round 1 MMA gym in Manila. So at least dito makikita natin kung itutuloy niya talaga to. So he's technically starting from a YouTuber's standpoint all the way to kung mapapanindigan niya to be a real fighter.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and my thing is kahit anong sabihin nila na YouTuber, Boss Bullet has the physique, and in a way he also has the training na even though hindi sa cage, but he also trained. Ang iba kasi mga YouTuber are just keyboard warriors who doesn't have really experience and does too much trash talk, and then they go ahead and try to fight a professional or even an amateur MMA fighter. JC, maraming salamat for a wonderful discussion, and I'm gonna show several slides here before we go. This would, in a way, this would interest our viewers, no? Adesanya Pereira, what do you think? Kanino ka?
These guys, this fight will be some sort of rematch between the two. Ang kinaibahan lang, kasi si Pereira was the last man to KO si Adesanya sa kickboxing. Pero the thing is, this is gonna be MMA. So iba na ang dynamics ng fight. Iba na ang setup. So for this fight, malalaman natin kung pagdating ba sa MMA, talagang hindi na kaya ni Pereira this time si Adesanya na maglaban sila. But this is a very interesting fight for me. Kasi although si Adesanya yung champion, he wants to prove a point for this fight. Kaya siguro pumayag siya na kalabanin ulit si Alex Pereira.
This is for me, it's a nightmare that keeps on bugging Adesanya. And he has to prove it to himself. I guess not to anyone else, not to UFC, but to himself na he has to fight his demons. Ito si Pereira, he has been really, I think, bugging him for quite some time kasi ito lang yung naka-knockout.
Talk na rin siya bago po pumasok si Pereira sa UFC. He's been saying na kaya kong talunin niya si Israel Adesanya ulit because I've already done that before.
Then this would be a great fight. Who wins Romero Mammoth sa Bellator? Kanino ka?
Dito po ang gusto kong sabihin na sana si Yoel Romero, kaya lang for some reason pag kailangan niya gamitin ng wrestling niya, bigla siyang nagbo-boxing. Pag kailangan niya gamitin ng boxing niya, bigla siyang nagre-wrestling. Hindi ko maintindihan kung bakit siya ganun lumaban, lalo recently. Before he was released by the UFC, yung huling laban niya, ganun din ang nangyari halos eh. Na parang that was not the Yoel Romero that we used to see. Parang may nagbago sa kanya.
So,
parang may mali.
Who do you think? Sinong bet mo?
If if Yoel Romero is in the proper headspace dito sa laban na to, I think medyo may advantage siya. Although, si Melvin Mammoth, he's definitely no pushover. Hindi ko maalala kung naging champion na siya dito sa Bellator. So, this, if tama ang pagkakaalala ko, this is gonna be a tough fight for Romero din. Kasi, si Romero, he's still out to prove na he still has something left in him.
The reason why Mammoth was taken out sa UFC because of his attitude
Yeah. Masyado
But
may
he could have gone a long way because before that, he was making a lot of waves sa ibang pro events. This one, I'm not familiar with these guys, with these champions. This is a one event, Bular versus Malikin. I don't know what have you seen them fight or what?
Hindi ko maalala kung they are from different divisions. Si Arjan Bular, he is the heavyweight champion sa One Championship ngayon. I think he got his title from Brandon Vera. He defeated Brandon Vera for that title. And
so this would be
ang team kasi sa One Championship, ang bigger guys nila, maliit ang roster, konti ang roster. So, although, ang fights nila, very explosive. Right. So, we'll see kung sino yung alam ko mga bago silang champion. Itong si Malikin, parang medyo bago-bago lang din siya na champion. So, we'll see kung sino yung tougher. Kasi, in the last few years, yung level nila ng fighters in the heavier divisions ng One Championship has continually improved. Kasi nung una sa heavyweight parang 4-5 lang sila doon, tapos ngayon dumadami na yung laman ng roster kahit pa paano. Right. Nanggagaling na sa mga promotions like sa KSW or sa Reyes or sa Cage Warriors sa UK, mga ganong levels nanggagaling yung fighters.
This one is a local fight. It's ongoing right now under DUFC or Davao Urban Fighting Championship. Nasa Bukidnon. And I feature this because there are two fighters which really interest me. Ito yung mga anak ni Mangguray.
Wow!
Hero and Nico. So, I don't know what's going on, what's gonna happen. But once I see the videos, once I see the fights, I'm gonna invite you, JC, and we're gonna talk about how the fights of these kids because I'm sure they are. Nakikita ko pa to sila sa gym noon eh. They were with their dad and they were even competing jiu-jitsu and their dad really trained them well. So we'll see kung anong nangyari dito. You have both Mangguray sons who are fighting. It's their first fight.
Wow. And alam ko their fathers taught them, exposed them to martial arts, diba? In karate, it started in karate.
Yeah, sure.
And continuously growing din po kasi ang martial arts, nakakatuwa na sobrang continuously growing ang martial arts scene in Mindanao na may black belt na ng jiu-jitsu sa Mindanao and teams are slowly stepping up more and more in the past few years.
Right. So ngayon, we have these fighters and kagandahan na continue pa yung mga MMA events which would really help yung mga local fighters being exposed to MMA. And I congratulate everyone sa mga amateurs who step up. And I want to go back with our both fighters, si Mammoth and si Bullet that I want really both. Congratulations sa inyo ha. Sa inyo lumalabas yung pagkabisaya ko pre. Inyo ha. Kay Bullet, congratulations sa iyo Bullet. Despite of, it's your first time you step up and merong last dito na papakita ko and then we'll wrap it up. And I know this would really interest you because this has been a long talk. 2-3 years in the making and nakwento mo nga. Ito si Rolando D and Mark Striegel.
dito po kasi sa matchup nila na to, interesting enough, before the night before the event, we had an episode dun sa aming podcast, live podcast called Combat Sports Weekly, kung saan guest namin si Professor Alvin Aguilar. And syempre, knowing yung history nitong dalawa, ni Rolando D and ni Mark Striegel, yung naging issue nga nila between the two noong 2020 dahil sa misunderstanding because of a journalist na medyo alanganin yung pagkaka-quote kay Rolando D na lumabas na negative yung sinabi niya kay Striegel. So sa podcast naman yun, a lot of people were commenting baka pwedeng the URCC can make the D versus Striegel fight. And apparently, nung nakausap ko si Sir Ron Catunaw, nung nagkakaroon na ng ingay sa social media, na they were trading jabs on social media because of the issue na nangyari dun sa article before. He started to try to get these two na magharap na. Ang isa lang sa biggest challenges kasi is, well, si Rolando D is currently under contract with Brave Combat Federation. Hindi ko lang po alam kung he's exclusively fighting under Brave. Although si Mark Striegel kasi, he's currently doing his media obligations. Wala na po kasi siya sa UFC.
Okay.
So, anong nangyari kasi, he got into the UFC during a time na sarado dito lahat. So, training for fights was a huge struggle for him. He fought 2 fights in the UFC, and unfortunately, he did not win any of those fights. And ngayon, babalik siya sa URCC. Apparently, nung tinanong po namin, he's still hindi pala niya nirelinquish yung title niya na as the URCC featherweight champion. So, this fight supposedly can be done pag natapos niya yung media obligations ni Striegel. Si Rolando D po, I think he will be fighting late this year. Parang may post ako nakita ni Rolando na parang ganon. He's preparing for something kasi ang daming kino-call out na rin na fighters ni Rolando D sa Brave Combat Federation. Kasi, I mean, you know, that's how he is, and he wants to be champion again.
He's a typical Rolando D.
Yes. Very, very opinionated fighter, si Rolando D. And sabi nila supposedly this fight might happen like April, March, some third or fourth quarter, second or third quarter ng 2023. So if that happens, grabe. I mean, they're probably gonna do it in a huge venue.
This will be a good pay-per-view because a lot of people will be watching, not just in the Philippines but all over the globe. OFWs are really interested on those 2 fights. Both of them made their mark sa MMA scene locally and internationally, and this would really, really make a great fight. Now, to wrap it up, I want to thank you, JC, for being here, and it's really a pleasure talking to you. Great inputs. And for those who are watching right now, pasensya na nabibilaw ka na ako. Kulang ng tubig. Sa lahat mga nanonood ngayon, nahihirapan na ako mag-Tagalog. Ito yung problema sa mga Bisaya. But that's okay. If you're watching right now, if you're interested with our content, all you have to do is like, share, subscribe, and make a comment here on our channel so that we will keep on doing this. And, I'll keep on inviting my good friend here, JC. Now, JC, how can they contact you? If you want to give a shout out, your social media channels, please.
Shout out po to everyone who's watching this live broadcast right now. Medyo nasa cloud 9 pa rin ako ng site kasi hanggang ngayon hindi pa rin ako makapaniwala na the URCC got me to be a commentator kasi I've been watching that promotion since like 2005. So ganoon na akong katagal na fan ng promotion. So it's parang hindi ko alam kung anong tawag doon, pero biglang isang araw na lang nagulat ako. ay, part na ako ng promotion at this level. And yung fight pa na una kong nagawa ng commentary is yung kasing hype nitong kaila Bullet at Mammoth. And yung napakagaganda pa ng mga fights dun sa event. Meron pala akong, I have not started doing content in YouTube yet. I have a vlog, pero about combat sports, wala pa. Ang combat sports content ko po nasa TikTok. Inaalis ko yung mga puro sayaw-sayaw lang sa TikTok. I'm trying to actually create content na informative din on TikTok about combat sports. That's tiktok.com/@the JC Reyes. And on Facebook, you can check our and on Facebook, YouTube, and Spotify, our podcast called Destroy Manila. That's a fight culture podcast. We have a new episode out where we talk to Coach JR Crisologo. He's a Filipino coach based in Bangkok na maraming hindi nakakilala sa kanya, pero he's the boxing coach of Muay Thai champions. Pinagkakatiwalaan ng mga Thai. So dapat tayo bilang mga Pilipino, makilala natin siya and matuto tayo sa kanya. He's gonna go to the Philippines pala on September 24 and 25. He's gonna do workshops sa kanyang boxing workshops and coaching workshops by then. And yeah, yun po. Thank you sa Monday. Isa na ba? Sa Monday.
Monday.
Yes, Combat Sports Weekly. That's a weekly show that I do with Professor Franco Rolyoda and Coach Carl de Mesa. On Monday, tinitingnan namin kung sino yung mga matitinding possibly namin makuha as guests. So kaabang-abang itong Monday na episode namin, if ever.
Yung mga titos.
Yes, titos of fighting. Yung mga viewers na rin po nagtawag sa amin na titos of fighting.
Sana mga kuya, titos of fighting. Anyway, again, maraming salamat for being here, JC. And to our viewers, stay safe, be safe.
Yeah.
Bye-bye. MMA Davao.
Thank you po, MMA.